Hello, Facebook. Welcome to the Anything New podcast. Getting ready to get this show started.
What up, Facebook?
What up, YouTube?
Hello, YouTube. Thanks for hanging out with us. We're a day late because of some sort of organized sporting event. Not sure what that was all about.
It wasn't worth watching. We'll get there.
I'm sure we'll cover that a little bit. Alrighty. Ready when you are, Matt.
Hang on, stupid. Trying to type URLs on my phone is a miserable experience. Oop.
This podcast brought to you by Elijah Craig Small Batch at your local distiller. Smooth.
Okay, I'm good to go. Let's see, I'm
All
hosting, right? Okay.
You're hosting and we're ready to go.
Ooh, hang on. All right. Welcome to Anything New. My name's Matt, and as always, I'm here with Opey
Hey, guys.
and Pete.
Hello, friends.
Anything New is a podcast where we talk about anything new we've been using, perusing, or consuming. Guys, we've got a packed show today. We've got some music we're going to talk about. As always, we're going to talk about some pickups. We got some TV, some sports, something or other. I don't really know what happened there. And but we've got to start it off the way we always do with our community watch party that Opie chose for us last week. Opie, since this was yours, we're going to let you tell us what it was and what it's about.
Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer. So I chose last week to watch an anime series. Demon Slayer was on Netflix, and it's not a new anime from what I hear. It's been out a couple of years, but I guess the dub is new to Netflix. I guess the English version is new to Netflix, and it was trending, and I thought it'd be cool if we watched it. I'm a fan of anime. I know Matt's a fan of anime.
I
know,
anime.
Yeah, I know James and his boy's son of anime likes anime. I kind of enjoyed it. I watched the first 4 episodes. I didn't want to go past it, and boy, I picked a good episode to end on. It ended on a little bit of a cliffhanger there, guys.
Well, we should have gone. We should have gone to episode 5. I went ahead and watched episode 5. And
That was a bad one to end on. 4 was.
4 was a bad one because I was going to go ahead and watch the.
Or it was good because it kept us, to where like Matt, he wanted to watch the 5th one. So that was
I
good.
did.
So disclaimer: we're going to be terrible with the names for right now because we're brand new to it. Just watched it. It's hard to pronounce, hard to remember. But you got to go. You've got a young boy. He comes home. Actually goes out. What did he go out for initially? What was the
Selling
first?
charcoal.
He was selling charcoal. That's right. In his little village. And apparently he lives on a mountain in Japan or wherever. I don't think it really tells where he's from, but it's really cold. So he goes around selling charcoal. Comes back home to discover his entire family has been murdered. Well, not his entire family. Everybody but his little sister has been murdered. They're laying there. It's pretty gross, laying there in blood. And he's kind of freaking out about it, and he discovers that his younger sister is still alive, but she's not normal. Apparently, they have been killed by a demon, and the way that he acts, demons aren't a odd thing. I think people know that demons are around and kind of have to live with them because he doesn't really freak out that what has killed them. It's kind of a well-known thing because there's this whole agency of demon slayers. So when he tries to revive his little sister, she attacks him, and pretty much has turned into a demon, or I don't know yet because we haven't watched full, the whole thing, if she's full demon or whatever. But basically the first 4 episodes, he vows to save his sister, wants to get her to a doctor or someone that can kind of cure her. And in the meantime, he runs into a demon slayer, kind of during that first initial attack. When he discovered his sister was a demon, he gets attacked by a real demon. Was it the demon that you think killed his family that he's attacked by, that he cuts the head off of?
Maybe.
Okay.
They kind of allude to that, at the beginning,
So that may have been the demon that killed his family, but he's attacked by that, and his sister kind of is in between, trying to knows it's him, tries not to kill him. She's trying to fight the urge to go full demon. You know what happens when we go full demon?
Yeah, you never go full demon.
You never go full demon, but she's trying to resist the urge to go full demon. He ends up defeating that demon and kind of calms her down, kind of gets her secured, puts a bit in her mouth so she can't really bite anybody, and proceeds to cross paths with the demon hunter. And the demon hunter sends him to this demon hunter trainer, which he can learn to be a demon hunter like him and then avenge his sister, or therefore get his sister cured some way, somehow. So it ends episode 4 with him going to the demon hunter trainer, completing the training, and then they had to go to this final trial, where they have to survive 7 days in this kind of a wilderness with all these demons. And if you survive, I guess you pass the test. If you don't, you die. There's no two ways about it. So I enjoyed the first 4 episodes. The only thing that I wish that, like we were talking earlier before the podcast, is it's an anime style, but it's got some CG element into it too. And I don't love CG anime that much. I would like for it to be full, full old school looking anime. And I guess that's where, we were discussing Attack on Titan was a little different than that. So what'd you guys think? Did I hit everything pretty well?
Yeah, I liked it. So I had seen the first 6 episodes back. I think it came to America in 2019, I want to say, and I watched the first 6 episodes. Back then, the dub didn't exist, the English version didn't exist, so I'd watched it in Japanese. But I really liked it back then, but for some reason I just stopped watching it. So I rewatched it again, which is good because I didn't remember a lot of it. Did you guys watch the dub or the subtitle version?
Dub.
I watched the Japanese with the English subtitles.
Okay.
And I told Peyton that that's how you got to do it.
Well, see, I did the dub this time because I had watched the Japanese version last time, and I just wanted to try out the dub. And I thought the dub was good, although it takes place in feudal Japan. I always feel weird doing stuff in English when it's feudal Japan, like Ghost of Tsushima. I had to play that in Japanese. But I really like it. It's your, at least on the outset, it's your typical, young boy wants to become a great something, and he has to meet an old dude and train and go through a trial. I mean, it's your typical story like that. Yeah, but it's still done really well. I really like the action scenes, the choreography. I like the use of the CG. They didn't, because all the characters were always hand drawn, and it was like the background were CG, but just during some of the action pieces to make it a little bit more dynamic. But I'm sold on this series. I wish I'd kept going, and I'd like to keep going now. I hope I don't fall out of it. But and I really like the music too. The music kind of reminded me of I couldn't quite put my finger on it. I think it was reminds me of maybe some old school Ghost in the Shell. With the high pitched voices, that was terrible, but
nailed it.
But I just I don't know. I like all of it. The only thing I don't like is his dumb green and black Kimono or whatever.
Yeah.
I hate how stupid that looks. And
Maybe he'll
you know.
upgrade. This is just like level 1, you know. So as he becomes like a Demon Slayer master, he might get some cool new armor.
Yeah, I hope so. But you know, I guess there's some main characters in the series that we up to this point we haven't gotten introduced yet. So, you know, I'd like to meet them. But yeah, I mean, I'd really like to see where this goes. I'd really like to, you know, you can always tell anime openings are great because it sort of like tells you, oh, I wonder who that character is, and then I wonder who that character is, and oh, that's obviously the bad guy because of where they are in the opening and how the shot looks around them. So I want to see like who the big bads are and meet some more of these characters and figure out where it takes them. But yeah, I thought it was. I like the concept, you know, demons, and I like all the rules that they set. And you know, demons get stronger the more people they eat, and they can heal themselves, and you have to have a special sword to kill them, and that kind of stuff. I mean, I'm into all that, and you know, the action scenes, like I said, are real good. So yeah, this is fantastic.
So there's
I liked it. It was pretty much exactly what Matt hit on. Like I kind of like the art style better than Attack on Titan. Like
oh wow,
that's just me. You know, it seems a little bit more up to date. You know, a little bit fresher. Like just like some of the camera angles that they would use. You know, was really cool. I tell you what was really neat. I kind of went down the Wikipedia rabbit hole, not for spoilers, but just to kind of learn a little bit of backstory about all this. And I guess after this they came out with a sequel film in Japan.
Really?
And yeah, premiered October 2020 and became the highest grossing anime film of all time.
Whoa!
Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba the movie.
Okay.
Mugen Train.
Well, I was just looking. So there's 26 episodes there's only one season, right?
So far, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. 26 episode television series. Yep.
Well, I'm definitely going to finish it because I want to keep going.
Yeah, I think I will. I might kind of watch it in bunches like I did this time, you know, like watch 4 or 5 and then kind of take a break.
But I watch English. I watch dubbed because some things I have to concentrate on. And, you know, you like, if you don't have time devoted to subs, you may miss something sometimes. But, you know, I don't have a preference either way. But it was a good. I thought Matt. Did you think the voice acting was good? Did you?
Yeah, I like the English dub. And see, you know. So, you know, a lot of the purists nowadays, you know, they're like, oh, you know, you're not supposed to watch anime dubbed. That's awful. Well, you know what? Most of those are kids who haven't watched anime as long as we have and don't know how bad dubbing used to be. Dubbing used to be back in the day, used to be awful. Now it's really good. So if you had known how bad dubbing was back then, and now you know how good it is now, you wouldn't be so critical about it. I mean, you know, watch it however you want. As long as you're getting the same story. Who cares?
I tell you something that's funny. You know, Peyton and his little buddies are all into it. They're kind of like into all. You know, they're playing Dragon Ball Z games. They're you know what I mean. They're Naruto. They're all kinds of stuff. The one guy, Opey, you met him here. You know, he's about the size of like your boy, you know, just like an oversized
he's a full grown man
child. Well, so Peyton, whenever Peyton sees him like at basketball or anytime we pick him up, he's always just like yells out the truck like Oni-chan, which is like Big Brother, you know, like so he calls him Oni-chan. You hear that like in a lot of the animes. That was kind of cool.
Yeah, I was talking to my son on FaceTime. He's at his mom's house, and I said, I watched the first 5 episodes of Demon Slayer because he's seen all of it, or so I thought. And I said, you've seen the whole thing, right? He's like, well, almost. And I said, well, how much did you watch? He said, I saw the first 25 episodes. I said, well, there's only 26. He goes, what? I was like, go finish it. How do you not watch the last episode? But he loved it too. He was really into it. I remember when he was watching it. Although he does love Attack on Titan. He watches, you know, the new season's out now and they drop one a week on Funimation, and he sits in the office and watches it, and I can hear him, like I'll be in the living room and he just like is screaming, oh my gosh, that was so awesome. I can't believe it, Daddy, come here. And he tries to tell me. I'm like, no, don't tell me. I don't want to spoil it. So yeah, he was big in all this stuff. So yeah, Demon Slayer, if you like anime, and you haven't, if you like anime, you've probably seen it, but if you haven't, you should try it. It's really good. So we're going to move on to the reason we didn't record last night is the
Well, what about our
Whoa,
next
whoa,
week's?
whoa,
Come on, don't be
Oh,
skipping out.
did I pull an Opie?
whoa! You did.
I pulled an Opie and totally forgot. Okay, I've got it.
Uh-oh.
I'm gonna stick with the anime theme, okay?
Okay.
And I'm picking this because I've been wanting to watch it ever since our buddy Dan told me about it. And I've been meaning to and just keep putting it off, and now this is going to give me the kick in the pants I need to watch it.
There you go.
I want us to watch, there's 3 of them, but I just want us to do the first one, unless you want to do more for extra credit. The first Berserk
What?
anime movie.
Okay.
So Berserk is a it's one of the most it's up there, it's everybody loves Berserk, and it's this really violent sort of fantasy sword and sorcery. I don't know how much sorcery is, but sword and sorcery type, big swords and monsters and that kind of thing. And it was a series that we had watched probably back in the college days, or a little bit after, probably in the early 2000s, I think. And it's gone through several iterations. I want to say there's maybe even been a new series. I'm not too sure, but there's 3 movies on Netflix that I don't know a lot about, but Dan said that if you watch those 3 movies, you will basically get the same story as the series that we watched back in the day. But we'll just do the first one unless you want to watch more, but we'll focus on the first one. And Pete, I know we were talking about it once, and we said that you might like this one really well. It's don't watch it with the kids. It's violent.
Is there some sessy time?
Now I've got this pulled up. Is it the Golden Age Arc 1, the Egg of the King?
1.
The Egg of the King. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
It looks good. I like the way everybody looks from like the little poster.
Yeah, that's that classic. That's that good anime style.
Yeah, that's like sort of. It's got the classic anime look, but updated.
Yeah. They did a collaboration with Black Desert Online, the MMO.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I guess like some playable characters. That's cool.
And the Berserk manga, like I've tried to get into manga before, I can't really, but the Berserk manga is like the hardcovers are like, because I watch a whole bunch about like YouTube channels about like comic book omnibuses and stuff, and a lot of those guys are also into the manga, and they go nuts for the hardcover Berserk manga collection. So like I guess it's just everybody just loves it. So like I said, I've been meaning to watch the movies, keep putting it off. So this is going to give me the kick in the pants I need to watch it. Yeah. Okay. So now we're going to talk about the sporting champion competition from last night. Sports ball. The Super Bowl was last night.
Sports ball.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Kansas City Chiefs.
Woo.
Mahomes versus Brady. It was a football game that was on that you could have watched if you chose to do so. I didn't, I think, I don't know.
This is what just is so crazy, right? So like somebody, I'm, Bengals fan, but this was a very telling post that somebody put on one of the Bengals pages yesterday. And it said, you want to see what Patrick Mahomes would look like playing for the Bengals with our offensive line? This is it.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
26 for 49, 270 yards, and 2 interceptions.
Yep.
Right? If you'd have told me before the game that would have been Patrick Mahomes' stat line, I'd have said there's no way. And with Travis Kelce getting 133 yards, it was nuts.
It was. I mean, I'm not the biggest Tom Brady fan. I'm not a Bucs fan. I'm a Saints fan, so which means I naturally don't like the Bucs. I like to watch the Chiefs play because I think they're fun to watch. I'm not necessarily jumping on the bandwagon, but they're fun. They're a fun team to watch.
They are fun to watch.
I was really hoping they would win, and I was embarrassed for them with how poorly they played last night. It was like watching the Jets. I mean, it was like watching a Jets football game. Mahomes had no protection. It was ridiculous how on every single snap, his offensive line didn't protect him. The defense got to him every single time.
Well, they were missing like both their tackles, right? Wasn't that kind of the main story?
Yeah, I guess.
They're both their starting tackles.
And then they shifted a bunch of guys around too.
I mean, I guess, but I guess I just feel like, I'm early 40s, non-athletic, doughy guy, so I don't know, but I just would think that if you're a professional athlete that's getting paid millions of dollars, you should be able to pick up the slack just a little bit better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's Tampa Bay. It was like a 4-year-old Pro Bowl team, right? I mean, they had like Ndamukong Suh, Jason Pierre-Paul, a guy who blew up his hand with the firecracker.
Yeah.
With the Giants. He was like a Pro Bowler.
Yep.
Know?
Yep.
They were loaded. They signed all these like 1-year, 2-year free agents. So it'd be interesting to kind of see how they are able to keep the team together. I'm not sure how many guys are on 2-year deals.
Even crazy receiver guy doesn't
Antonio
play.
Brown.
Antonio Brown. I'll play a few games and then all year long, and then he scores a touchdown in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, Gronk. I had him on my fantasy team this year, in my pay league, and he kind of did subpar all year.
Yeah,
and then he comes out and just like decides, hey, I'm going to take some pre-workout and snort some Adderall and catch a bunch of touchdown passes.
I had Gronk on the fantasy league we were all in, and he did next to nothing for me all year. Super Bowl comes around, I'm just going to go ahead and grab 2 touchdowns.
They probably told him, hey, Gronk, you got some miles on those tires. We're going to save you for the big game. He's like, okay. And comes out and just tears it up. I mean, you got to give credit, man. Like, the Buccaneers were just super prepared. It seemed like everything that the Chiefs tried to do, the Buccaneers had an answer. I honestly feel like the second quarter there were a lot of flags that were a little sus, that really helped Tampa Bay out. But I mean, you'll have that in any game, so I don't really want to throw it too bad on there. But.
And sports fans or just mild sports fans like kind of Matt, I mean, you need to watch Tony Romo games because he does a great job of breaking down kind of what the Tampa Bay defense was doing.
I love Tony Romo calling games. He's the best ever. He's a wizard. He predicts the future.
He does. He does. It's just the Tampa Bay schemed it up pretty well. They probably knew that they were going to have a chance to get to Mahomes, and they just were going to shut down his first 2 reads. I mean, they shut down Kelsey and they shut down Hunt and Hill. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they did.
And then he was he couldn't progress. You couldn't, with that pass rush, it would be different if he could get through the first couple of progressions or get to the first progression. But when those two are quadruple covered, they literally covered those 2 receivers with 2 guys all night long. It was he had no time. He had no time at all. And the running game wasn't there either. They didn't help themselves at all. I mean, it almost to the point to where, and of course, Andy Reid would rather drown before call a running play. I think half the time he would probably have been better just to line up in like the I formation and go the second half a little bit more, but he didn't. Yeah. He won't do it. Andy Reid will pass the ball until he blows himself up, and that's what he did.
I don't know if you guys were the same way, but even at halftime or like in the third quarter, I was like, you know what, Chiefs, they can just rattle off 28 here in like no time. I just kept waiting on it.
Kept waiting
on it, and I was like, okay,
that Mahomes magic.
9 minutes left, and they're down by like whatever they were, like 17 or 21. Okay,
so is Brady the winningest Super Bowl?
Sure. Oh
yeah.
He has the most rings of anybody.
Yeah, I think does Montana have 4?
Yeah, Bradshaw and Montana have the most. I think they both have 4. 3 or 4.
Brady's got the most. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, Brady has the most more than the Patriots and the Steelers franchises.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
We joke about it in Discord, and I try to say you guys know I'm a Drew Brees fan. He's my favorite. But I don't love Tom Brady. I think he's kind of a crybaby on the field, but you know what? He's the GOAT, man. He is the greatest.
It's and that's one of the things. It's like, Peyton will talk about it because he's all into sports right now, and I just got to tell him, like, man, you just got to admire what you're seeing because we may never see anybody do it again. Mahomes might go to 7 in a row. We don't know. He might win the next.
you guys know, and people watching this and listening, time after time, I'm a avid Tennessee Vols fan, and I'm a huge Peyton Manning fan. And all the years that Peyton and Brady went at it when Peyton was at Indianapolis, the only thing we could hold over Tom Brady was that Peyton won it with 2 different teams, and now we can't do that anymore.
Right.
So that's the only thing that I ever held over Brady's head that I could say that Peyton could do that Brady couldn't, was win a Super Bowl with a different team. And Brady was better in his last Super Bowl than Peyton was. Peyton was done.
Oh my gosh! Yeah.
He was done
that
in that
against
Broncos.
the Panthers.
Yeah, that Broncos game, he was done.
Yeah, he was throwing like those 10-yard outs, and they just look like lob passes.
Like me throwing the Nerf ball in the backyard.
Real quick, what about the whole night was underwhelming. The game wasn't good. The halftime show was very subpar. Wasn't necessarily the Weeknd's fault. I like his music, I guess. Okay, there was only so much you could do with being in the middle of a pandemic. You couldn't do a big J-Lo Shakira thing. You couldn't have all the kids on the field dancing, and so I thought that was underwhelming. The commercials weren't great. I mean, it was just the whole night was just a bust. I mean, it was really disappointing because Super Bowl, man, that's like one of the best nights of the year, and I just kind of thought everything about it from start to finish. Commercials, halftime, game, everything.
Yeah.
Was just...
And then there's a TMZ camera following Brady around with like a clock counter about how long he doesn't have a mask on after the game. I just thought that was like...
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was just...
Are you serious?
Man. Yeah. Yeah, it was just... I don't know. It's just... They're easy targets. You know what I mean? And like... It's just... I don't know. I don't like that. But whatever.
Yeah, so I wasn't whatever. It's over. Time to move on. Next year.
Next year, Bengals all the way. Burrow's gonna be back with his bionic leg.
With a bionic leg, yeah.
That's not really gonna happen. So don't hold me to that. But I mean, that's the only time the Bengals fans, have any say. Is like when everybody's 0-0. You know what I mean? Like we're just as good as everybody else right now.
Even playing field.
Yep.
All right, so we'll move on to Pete's favorite part of the show. We're going to talk real quick about WandaVision episode 5. Did everybody watch it?
Yes.
Oh yeah, wait. I know. Yeah, we talked a little bit about it.
A little bit.
Yeah. So I'm gonna try not to spoil too much, but it's been the weekend. So WandaVision, last week we got almost no Wanda, almost no Vision, almost no sitcom stuff. It was all about Sword and what was going on outside the bubble. This time we got a good mix of what's going on inside and outside. We saw Sword, and they're trying to figure out, how Wanda's doing everything. We got to see more sitcom stuff. This time they moved into the 80s. There was a big hubbub with, Wanda had her babies 2 episodes ago, and then now they're aging up very quickly. They're 5-year-olds and then 10-year-olds. They find a dog, Sparky, which is from Tom King's Vision run, which was super cool. But
what?
I didn't know.
It was just an Easter egg. There's nothing. There's not. You don't have to take too much away from it.
Okay.
It was just an Easter egg from the comics. That it doesn't. There's no big like
us muggles, Opie.
I know another muggle
on the show. We don't even understand.
There's no big meaning behind that. It's just an Easter egg. No big deal. But one thing that was really interesting was that we talked before about how the MCU hasn't done a great job explaining Wanda's powers. In all the other movies, it just looked like she has like telekinesis and some telepathy. In the comics, we know that she's actually changed reality, rewritten reality in the whole House of M storyline we talked about. So I thought it was cool this episode to where they were sort of figuring out that her powers were going way beyond just telekinesis and telepathy. She was actually rewriting reality, and they even said she's never exhibited that kind of power before. So I thought that was going to be a good mystery to sort of unlock, to see her, sort of really go to that next level. I thought there were some cool scenes with Agnes, who, we're starting to see the cracks in the perfect world that she's built. Agnes comes in and acting like the plucky neighbor, but then something happens and her face kind of sinks. Oh, do you want me to do that again? So we're starting to see that Wanda really is controlling everything, and maybe some people are aware of it. And then the end with the big reveal. I don't, well, I don't know. Should we spoil?
Yes, might as well.
Yeah. So okay, so we're gonna spoil the ending. So if you haven't seen it yet, maybe mute it or come back in a minute or whatever. So at the end, there's been a couple times in the show now where Wanda has talked about her brother Pietro, who we all know. And I'm going to leave all the comic book stuff out of it because I know that introduces a whole extra layer of confusion. So just sticking with the MCU stuff, we know Pietro from Age of Ultron. He died at the end of that movie. There's a knock at the door. She opens the door, and there's Pietro. Wow, that's pretty cool, right? But it's not the Pietro that we know. It's actually Pietro from the Fox X-Men movies, which Disney can use now that Disney owns Fox, and they have access to all those characters. And so that's the big like head explosion moment. Like, oh my gosh, they're doing it. They're bridging the gap between the MCU and the X-Men movies, from two different movie studios, and what does this all mean? And we don't know. There's the theory is that this is how they're going to get mutants into the MCU, but maybe not. I mean, I don't know. So what did you guys think about the whole thing?
I thought my biggest beef with it is that, it's a lot of inside baseball for people who don't know a lot about what's going on. Like I had no clue who I knew it was her brother, but I don't know if I've seen those X-Men movies. I mean, I kind of remember watching some like a long time ago, but I don't know. Like I had no clue that there was any sort of like mind-blowing reference. So I'm just wondering how many people actually did. You know what I mean? Like
that's a good question. So we talked about it like how you don't have to know the comics to understand this story, right? There's a gazillion Easter eggs for the people who do know the comics, but it's not necessary. But to their credit, but also detriment, they do assume that you've seen all the other MCU stuff and also the X-Men movies, and that you understand that the MCU and the Fox X-Men movies are totally separate because they're different studios, who owns what, and all this. They assume that you understand all that. And, a lot of people do, but to your credit, Pete, I mean, I'm sure there's quite a few that don't. So, I do wonder how that landed with the people who didn't understand. And I don't know if they're going to explain it or what have you, but I feel bad for if you didn't understand that, like, I feel bad because that was huge.
Yeah.
I mean, I was like, my eyeballs couldn't get any bigger popping out of my head when that happened at the end because it was rumored online. And I was like, there's no way. That's not going to happen. There's no way. They're not ready to do that kind of stuff yet. And then they did it. So, but it was, it was super cool. I don't know. I mean, I hope that, I don't even know. I can't even like form words like what this could mean. A lot of the theory is that this is how mutants come into the MCU. Like she ripped a hole in space time and, opening different multiverses, and
Noosh.
Maybe the X-Men are going to come from their universe over to the MCU, and that's how they get in. But we don't know. I mean, I'm not like saying that's definitely what's happening, but that's the working theory anyway. But I thought it was awesome. I mean, I loved getting equal parts Sword outside the bubble, the sitcom inside the bubble.
Yeah.
What I really like, what I thought was really cool is towards the end, Vision is starting to realize that not everything is as it seems. He comes home after work towards the end of the episode, and the credits start rolling. But they're still talking, like they're still arguing while the credits are rolling. I thought that was pretty clever.
That was cool. Yeah.
But there's questions about why is she making all this look like a sitcom? I don't know. Maybe I hope there's a reasoning behind that. I hope, because otherwise it would just be like, well, that was kind of weird. Why didn't she just create a reality and just live in it? Why does it have to be sitcoms, And
yeah.
So I hope we get the answer to that, because I really don't know.
So why don't they like call like some of the Avengers or something and be like, hey, guess what? Wanda's alive. She's in this town. Why don't we get some backup? Why we gotta have just like some FBI agents with bullets that aren't going to do anything anyway? Why not get some like muscle? You know what I'm saying?
That's a good question, and that's you sort of have to not ever ask that question, because otherwise
That's just too easy.
yeah, it's like, well, over, like, why doesn't Batman always call Superman every time he has a problem? Or how come they don't?
Yeah.
If in Ant-Man 2, why didn't he just call Thor to help? Like, why don't you ever just call your biggest guns? You just have to not ask those questions, because
I gotcha.
then yeah, why don't they just always call Superman? I mean,
Yeah.
not in MCU, but so you just have to sort of when after the first Avengers movie, when Thor: The Dark World came out, and they were fighting the Dark Elves, why didn't they just call the rest of the Avengers? Well, you can't ask that. But yeah, so I'm super excited to see where it goes. I can't even imagine what this week's episode's going to be with the whole Pietro thing. So I'm totes excited. The Big Short. I don't know what that is.
That's me. The Big Short is a major motion picture.
It's a good movie. It came out not too long ago, Matt.
2015. So the reason why I picked this was with all this GameStop stock trading stuff going on with the millennials and them shorting the market, or them reversing the short of the market, right? So that I hate to say this, because I always hate when I hear people say this, but the TLDR is that GameStop stock was pushed down kind of like artificially by like big hedge fund owners, right? So imagine if the price of GameStop would have been like naturally like around $40, they had shorted it so much that it was being pushed down to like $4 or whatever, and it was like they can see how many people are shorting it, like by the percentage, and these people on Reddit spotted it and noticed that it was like artificially suppressed, basically. And they said, well, if we have enough people, we can flip it around. And then that in turn makes those big hedge fund people have to buy in order to recoup some of their money, which just makes the stock go higher again. So that's kind of what has happened in the news. So there was a movie that came out a few years ago, and I never saw it. It's called The Big Short. And this is like a star-studded cast. And I love these movies like that I always mean to watch, and I don't, and then I go back and watch it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't know they were in it. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Listen to this cast. Brad Pitt, Christian Bale, Steve Carell, Ryan Gosling,
What?
Marissa Tomei. I mean,
It's the movie about that came out in 2015 about how the housing market crashed.
Yeah.
Oh, this
Yeah.
one.
This is kind of like what's been going on in the news, but reversed.
Yeah.
So the
It's
housing
very
market was artificially like inflated by our own system, right? So like the banks were taking these subprime loans. So like if I wanted to buy $1 million house, but my income didn't let me do that, I would still get a loan from the bank for that amount, right? With like an APR of real low, so that I could afford the house in the beginning. And then after like 2 or 3 years, after the APR switched, my my payment would skyrocket and I couldn't afford the house anymore. So what happened was these traders, they recognized this, and they saw that it was coming, right? That the banks had like secured all these loans for all this money, for all these people that weren't going to be able to afford their home in a few years.
Mm-hmm.
So they said, we want to short the housing market. And nobody had ever done that because the housing market is like rock solid, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Steve Carell, he's like, his like character's so good in it. He's like super frantic, like just running around. He's like, I want to short the market. And like, so the banks are like, yeah, give us your money. We'll take that. Like, that's the most ridiculous thing we've ever heard. Nobody shorts the housing market. But they did like all their homework, right? They like go down into Florida and they find these developments where people are like, they go into this like this gentleman's club, and there's like these strippers that own like multiple houses and like can't afford the payments, and they're renting them out to these people. They just see all this abuse and these people getting these loans for houses that they can't afford. That's basically the gist of it. So they short the market, and then it actually ends up happening, right? And then like they're kind of celebrating, but then at the same time they're realizing that this almost causes the collapse of the American economy. So
Oops.
it leads to a lot of reform, which is good. A lot of people lost money. These guys made a lot of money. So it's kind of one of those things. But it's a great movie. It's called The Big Short. I watched it on, I think I just had it like in my library of personal movies. I'll just say that.
Okay.
So, but it's good. Big Short came out 2015. I recommend it, especially with everything that's going on right now. It's a good watch.
Well, and I guess which I think this is kind of silly. Like, they're already working on 2 different movies about the whole GameStop thing.
Yeah.
I mean, really? Do we need that?
Yeah. The memes were great. The GameStop memes were awesome.
Oh yeah. All right, Opie, you've got a couple albums for us that I hate that I forgot to listen to. So tell me about these.
All right, so 2 new albums from a couple of my favorite bands dropped in this past weekend. One was Weezer, and their new album was called OK Human, not to be confused with Radiohead's OK Computer, but this was OK Human.
Ooh.
I don't know if that was a play.
They're talking to each other. OK Computer, OK Human.
But anyway, and the other one was Medicine at Midnight it was from the Foo Fighters, so it was kind of an anticipated. They kind of promoted it, which Weezer's kind of flew under the radar. They didn't really do a lot of promotions, but these are 2 of my favorite bands from the '90s. Of course, Weezer, they're famous for their Blue album, and of course, a couple of albums after that they've had some hits on. But and also Foo Fighters are it's Dave Grohl from Nirvana, and it's his band, and they've done a million records and they're well known worldwide. But just starting off with the Weezer album, it's not your Weezer that you knew in high school. I mean, I know their music's kind of trending away. Their last album they did with the covers, which you really like the Africa song, the Toto cover, Matt.
The Weezer is the greatest cover band in the world.
Yeah, they did some really good
their covers.
Cover stuff. This is just a general, easy, laid back listening album. It's kind of an adult Weezer album. Kind of like when we talk, we're such big Blink fans, and the Blink album slowly kind of, I guess they kind of grow old and kind of mature with
Blink's
their music.
Up, yeah.
So this is a little bit of a grown up Weezer album. It's okay. I listened to it a couple of times and just found that there was a couple of songs on there that were good, but nothing that's really rocking. It's more of I think there's some string instruments in some of the songs as well. So you guys want to listen to that and give it a shot if you can. Now
let me tell you real quick, just looking at the track list here on Spotify, I can see one thing hasn't changed that drove me crazy even back in high school with the Blue album. You can listen to the whole album in like a half hour because their songs are 2 minutes.
Yeah, they're not very
Get
long.
more than that. Come on,
they're
man.
Not very long. And then the Foo Fighter album only has 9 tracks.
Wow.
It's a short album. They've released Shame Shame and I think Waiting on a War, but it's not a bad album. It's more of a rock album, of course, because it's Foo Fighters, but it's not as heavy as like some of the other ones. Like, I mean, they come into like Color in the Shape, and a couple of those albums were In Your Honor were kind of some heavy rock albums. But this is kind of some mainstream Foo Fighters album. There's really nothing that just made me jump right off the radio or off the computer at me when I was listening to it. But well worth a listen if you like both of those albums. I was hoping that the records would show up at like Walmart or somewhere instead of me having to order them online. I would like to pick up the records for both of those because I'm trying to buy new music, even though I do subscribe to Spotify and can listen to them for free there, which is how I listen to everything. But I always like to support my favorite bands, and these are 2 of my favorite bands, and I was kind of pleased to see that they were coming out with new music. And maybe we can talk about it real quick on next week and give everybody an update.
Now, Pete, you listened to Foo Fighters, didn't you?
I did, and I thought it was good. I don't know if there's like that catchy song. There's not like they're not going to have like a big hit single, I don't think, on it.
Right.
But it felt familiar, you know,
Right.
like it felt. Like,
familiar is a good word.
Yeah, just like you could have told me that these were, you know, songs from an album 5 years ago, and I've been like, okay, like
Yeah,
it just sounded like every other, you know, like the Foo Fighters stuff. But you know, and I struggle sometimes with my taste in music kind of evolving a little bit
Yep.
and like leaving my favorite bands behind. And I don't know if it's like the last Pearl Jam album came out, you know, and I just didn't really like it, you know, and Pearl Jam is my favorite band of all time, you know.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I'm
it's
also
not
listening to other new stuff, you know what I mean? Like I really love Lumineers now, but you know, 10 years ago, if you'd have gave me a Lumineers album, I've been like, well, that's lame, you know what I mean? So I don't know if like my taste is evolving a little bit, and they're not, you know, Pearl Jam's not. So it's just, and it also,
You know, I think
I
think actually your taste is not changing at all. It's just, you know, like we talked about with Blink, you know, they're growing up. It's like, you know, the bands that we liked when we were kids and that type of music, those bands have grown up as we have grown up, and they don't make that type of music anymore because they've grown up. But we still like the old school type of music, and they just don't do that anymore. And no, there's no bands now except maybe Machine Gun Kelly that does make that type of music anymore. So we just have to listen to the old stuff.
Yeah, it's hard to make those angsty, you know, sad songs when you're flying around on your private jet. You know, what I
mean? when you you're like, I think about Mark Hoppus. You know, he's like 50 years old. You know, he can't be singing about girls and.
Well, I mean, I don't want to tease anything, but Matt and I have kind of been toying with a little segment, a little original content that the Anything New guys may be putting out. Now, I'm just saying all that kind of makes me think that bands that we listen to or maybe are kind of into, like Weezer or the Foo Fighters, they're probably not going to make it on the radio this day and age. They're probably not going to trend on YouTube, but Matt and I sort of went down the trending rabbit hole of YouTube music just to kind of poke our eyes with hot pokers, I guess, to see what the youths are listening to nowadays. And we kind of joked about doing reaction videos to so tell us in the comments if you want to see Matt and Opie react to trending YouTube music videos from the youths.
Oh my gosh.
That's not going to happen, but it was funny to think about. But anyway, yeah. So give it a listen. We'll see what we got, and I guess we can move on to pickups.
Yeah, Pete, did you have anything else about the music?
I did, but now I can't remember.
Okay.
So, one thing I wanted to say was one of my favorite bands has a new album coming out. I think it's at the end of this month, Kings of Leon.
Yes.
So I'm sure I'll be reviewing that. But I don't know if I'll buy the album. I'll probably just listen to it on Spotify.
Okay.
I know it would be nice for me to do that in support of the bands, but I just, you know, I can't do it.
Yeah, no, I hear you. You know, and there's nothing wrong with buying music, and you know, I subscribe to all the digital comic services, but I still go support my local shop and buy the books. You know, I mean, there's not, you know, you consume your stuff however you want. All right, so pickups. I will. Well, Opie, did you have anything to show, or did you leave it? Okay.
No, I do. I've got something to show. Unless you want me to tell you, like you can talk about your pickup as well as mine too. But I do got something, and this is going to piggyback off the music thing. 'Cause I do have some albums that I picked up this week, and this is kind of crazy. Went a little bit nuts. Once again. YouTube is the best commercial ever of all time, and I was kind of on the fence about doing this, and I thought these were really cool, and then I kind of did a little research, and they're like, well, these are kind of a limited run, and they won't be around, and I kind of like the band, and they're a good band, and they've been around forever, and I bought a bunch of their records, and I wanted to try to get this collection before I couldn't find it anymore. So I bought a bunch of Metallica albums.
Ooh.
So Metallica...
Master Puppets, Ride the Lightning,
yes.
Garage Days,
so,
Kill 'Em All.
So Metallica owns all their crap. Like all their merch, all their music. If you guys don't know, growing up in the early 2000s, Metallica, they're little whiny brats when it comes to their stuff. Thank you, Napster. Did I tell you guys that I explained to my son about the Napster days the other day? Did I tell you? I didn't tell you that. We were talking about music, and I told him how Napster kind of evolved and how kind of the whole digital music revolution thing happened, and Metallica was one of the bands that brought down, Napster or whatever. But anyway, so Metallica apparently owns their own record pressing company now called Black and Label, and they do their own pressing and make their own records. So
that's kind of cool, though.
Yeah,
they just do it all themselves.
Yeah, they do it all themselves, and they press their own records, and they re-released like all of their 6 of their best albums, and they made them special colored vinyl and for a limited time, and it's only at Walmart. So these are exclusives that you can only get at Walmart. And I was kind of on the fence about buying records at Walmart because in the beginning, I've said this on this show before, I thought it was kind of gimmicky. I thought maybe Walmart was just trying to get on a trend like they do, because they had a little VHS run there for a while, and they were putting out like reissued VHS tapes to kind of whatever's trending with the millennials or whatever. They're going to try to jump on that. But the more I research it, I mean, the Walmart stuff is good, and there's stuff that people are buying at Walmart that's doubling in value on the record market because they exclusively like toys. It's the same way. I mean, these gigantic retailers, they get exclusive stuff, and that's where only people can get them, and they just raises the value in them. So we'll start out with some of the old school ones. So I got Justice for All. And this is a double LP, and it comes in this green color. I haven't opened these yet, but everybody knows this one right here. So I got that. I haven't opened it yet, but it's really awesome. I got all of these except for 2. There was 2 I couldn't find yet, but these I got.
The black one.
Yep. Here's the black one.
Black album.
The black album. It's a double LP, and it's got an exclusive color too. It's limited edition as well.
Wait, what would the exclusive color be for black other than black, which is not an exclusive color? That's just the color.
It's a marble, because if I opened it up, it would be like a smoky black. Oh, okay. It's like a hazy black color.
And I'll tell you, like, Metallica is one of those bands. Like, I did not like them whenever I was like in junior high school.
Right.
But they're kind of like Led Zeppelin for me. Like, the older I get, the more I can appreciate their music. You know what I mean? Like, I like a lot of the old Metallica stuff.
Oh, I do too.
Once you got to like Load and all that, I don't really care for all that. But
I kind of like Load, and I kind of like Saint Anger too. Like some of the newer stuff after they kind of got all mad and whiny, went to therapy and came back out of therapy. and if you want to watch a good documentary, that one where they do all that therapy and they talk to the therapist and they're all mad because they have problems and they're big rock stars and they feel guilty about stuff and all that crap. But anyway, I do. I appreciate all they're doing. I don't like Lars that much, but James and the rest of the band, I think they're okay. Here's Ride the Lightning, and it's an exclusive electric blue vinyl cover as well. It's pretty good. And these are exactly like the original ones. There's really nothing except these have been pressed by Metallica's company. And here's their newest release, and it's on an orange.
Nice.
Can I ask what Walmart charges for an album?
Well, if it's a single LP, just a single one, it's around $22.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and if this is a double. Of course, the double ones, they get up to like $27 on there. So It's not terrible. I mean, back in the day, that's kind of what you bought a CD for. But that's the only 2 I didn't get was Master of Puppets and Kill 'Em All are the only 2 left on this exclusive run. I hope I'll find.
Are you going to get those?
If I find them.
Okay.
I'm not going to order them. But these all have doubled in value. Like Discogs is the... let me show you guys real quick. This is the Discogs app here. You can track your your music collection. This is the app I keep telling you guys about that I wish like the retro gaming community would do. Whatever, you can scan the records in or whatever, but you know, these are double in price if people they buy and sell on this app, and they're worth picking up if you find them and if you like the band. But I haven't opened them and played them yet, but I can't wait. I'll do that.
Pearl Jam's big into the vinyl scene as well.
Yep.
You know, they like all that stuff. But
yeah.
Dude, Opie, I wish you could have seen this past season of Amazing Race when they went and had to press vinyl at Jack Black's company in Detroit.
Whoa.
They actually had to press vinyl, and they showed him how they do it, and they showed him how they make the two-tone, like one side was yellow, the other side was red, because that's Amazing Race colors.
Jack Black has a vinyl?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, the whole episode, or that whole like last episode was cool or last half of that episode, because they had to go to the company, press the vinyl, and then they had to go to like the big, I can't remember, but the big like center of Detroit, and there was all these people, all these actual musicians playing Seven Nation Army in unison, and they had the teams had to put together a drum kit perfectly while like probably several dozen, I don't know, maybe it had been like 100 people were all in unison playing Seven Nation Army, and they had to like shout over each other to try to hear what they were doing. And
I think you're talking about Jack White.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Sorry, Jack White, not Jack Black.
Whoa!
Sorry,
that got me.
Black. I was like,
wow, Jack Black.
Oh, sorry, Jack White. I'm so sorry.
That's like Seven Nation Army. It kind of made sense a little bit as it was going on.
A little bit, but then when you said Detroit, I know Jack White is from Detroit. Then you said Seven Nation Army. I'm like, he means Jack White.
Sorry, I get the Jacks mixed up. Opie, anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Well, you have one other pickup, but I'll show it.
Show you my pickup from you.
Opie got a pickup. Opie finally checked his mail at work today after not checking it on Friday, and it's sitting there all weekend. And he opened it to see the Mega Constructs Masters of the Universe Battle Ram.
Yay!
Which I also doth too hath received on Saturday. So just another addition to the Masters of the Universe Mega Constructs collection. Goes with all the other vehicles. Real quick, I love the back because I love the story that it tells. Like, Mechanex coming after Triclops, and he's going to get him. Triclops gets away with the front half of the battle ram. Sucker.
Like where it comes apart.
Yeah, it comes apart.
Yeah, the front part comes off.
Sled part.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I remember that.
Yeah, so I saw these on Amazon for the actual price, not an inflated price. Yeah. So I had one sent to Opie, and then I got one.
Yeah, so Matt and I, other than a couple of, I think I've sent Matt all the minifigs, other than a couple of the Skeletors back here on the shelf that I have, Matt and I probably have everything except for the Battle Bones. I don't have the Castle Grayskull yet, which is Grail item, but it's just going to be so expensive. Hopefully I'll get lucky one day and find it.
I'll put mine together on camera, and you can watch it.
Okay, sounds good.
And then the only other pickup I got, I actually went to Target on Friday for the first time in forever. My Target's toy section is the worst. There's actual tumbleweeds blowing through there. But they actually had a few McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse, and I went ahead and picked up Superman Red Sun.
Oh, I've not seen those in my Walmart yet.
Which I had pre-ordered on Amazon. So while I was in Target, I canceled my Amazon order because it said he wouldn't be here till March.
Got to go every day.
Yeah, you got to go every day, apparently. And they had a couple others too. Opie, they had that Batman that you got me. Mm-hmm. And they had one of the ones from the Bane Build-A-Figure. But I really liked him, but I didn't get him because I haven't read that story. I was like, well, what if I end up not liking it? I'm not going to want the figure. But I did pick up Superman Red Sun. Super quick, if you don't know who this guy is, there's a story called Superman Red Sun, and it's like an Elseworlds thing where like it's out of continuity. Elseworlds are like, what if something else crazy happened and this could have happened? So in the Red Sun story, baby Kal-El rockets off from an exploding Krypton, but instead of landing in Kansas to be found by Ma and Pa Kent, he lands in the Soviet Union.
No.
And so that's why he's got the hammer and sickle on his uniform, and it's a super cool story, and everything is all different. Batman's different, and they're most like Batman and Wonder Woman have like Soviet counterpart, like they're Soviets in this instead of, I don't know, but yeah. So that's what this Superman is from. Is he is Russian instead of American, or he grew up in the Soviet Union instead of America.
What's his name besides Clark Kent? Is it like Nikolai?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't remember.
Kharkov?
Actually. I don't remember. I was hoping it was.
I love he has a Soviet sickle on the chest.
Yeah, I should have asked. There's the cover to the first issue, Superman Red Sun. Yeah. So yeah, I got. I was glad to find him, and I was able to not get it from Amazon, and that was it. So that's all I got. Those two things. All right, guys, that's pretty much it. We're real off some social. We're all over the social medias, guys. If you want to follow us on Twitter, you can do so at anythingnewcast. If you want to follow us on the gram, you can do so at anythingnewpodcast. You can send us an email, guys. We've still got some stuff to give away just for sending us an email, pretty much about anything. Anythingnewpodcast@gmail.com. You can find us on YouTube. We've got a bit.ly link for that, bit.ly/anythingnewYT. And then come to our Discord because we have some really cool conversations there. You can access that through a bit.ly link. It's bit.ly/anythingnewDiscord, followed by the number 1 on the end of that. I had to, because I messed it up. Guys, you got anything else to add to this conversation? No?
That's it.
All right, guys. Well, thank you guys for watching. If you're watching live or if you're listening later, appreciate it. And we will see you guys later.
All right.
Bye-bye.
See you guys.
See ya. All right. Craig is gone. Thank you,
Craig.
Facebook.
Bye, Facebook.
We'll catch you next week for episode